Back we are then for a test series that has already produced a lot of absorbing cricket, some riveting storylines. It's tantalizingly poised as we enter the third test. So, what can we expect from India and England as they return from a 10-day break? Sanjay Manjrekar joins us on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day to build up to the Rajkot test, which gets underway on Thursday. Thank you as always, Sanjay, for your time. I hope you've had a good break. India, we thought going into the second test that it was a more inexperienced batting lineup than we'll perhaps ever see. Well, one test later, it's going to be an even more inexperienced batting lineup because Shreyas Iyer is dropped, KL Rahul is not fit for the third test. It could be challenging.
Yes, and I think KL Rahul's inclusion was obviously on the basis that he'll get fit. So there was a question mark. So the other two options I mean, India have the other two options in place. So yes, inexperienced batting lineup, but I think the quality that's needed in this particular series are just Indian batters who play spin well. And that's where you might think Sarfaraz Khan suddenly makes his case very strong.
Yes, so you set us up well for the selection questions then, because Sarfaraz Khan in the squad from the second test onwards. Devdutt Padikkal is the one who's been roped in as KL Rahul's replacement for the third test. Who do you expect to slot in into that number four role, which is vacant right now?
Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, you have number three, Shubman Gill. I would want Rajat Patidar as the incumbent to take that position in number four, and then have Sarfaraz Khan come in at number five, only on the basis that Sarfaraz Khan was in the queue before Devdutt Padikkal, and I don't think Padikkal, being a left-hander, will just sort of further his case because India have Jadeja and Akshar Patel, Yashasvi Jaiswal, so plenty of left-handers. I just feel the Sarfaraz Khan with his longer the form that he's had over a long term should count for something and have more weightage than Devdutt Padikkal, who's had a great run of late. So the better player of spin plays, and I've not really seen Devdutt Padikkal from up close, but there is enough indication the Sarfaraz Khan would be an interesting batter for India to have to challenge the English spinners.
Yeah, and he comes in with that mighty first class average touching 70. So lots to look forward to if Sarfaraz Khan does get the nod. The trickier call potentially, Sanjay, if Ravindra Jadeja is fit, who does he replace? Who sits out? Akshar Patel or Kuldeep Yadav? Or could India look at benching the second seam?
It will all depend on the pitch on the morning of the game. If India on the morning of the match find a pitch that is a bit similar to Vizag, not an out and out rank turner, they would prefer Mohammad Siraj as the second seamer, just to give England something different because they've been so good against the finger spinners. They've challenged the Indian spinners, and Kuldeep Yadav coming in and making that difference with the way he bowls would be preferred. I would think, at least I would prefer between Akshar and Kuldeep for Kuldeep Yadav to play, or if it's a rank turner, then it'd be great to see India going with four spinners and just Bumrah as the lone seamer. But I don't see that happening now that people are talking about a little bit of grass on the pitch. Even if that gets shaved off, will we see a rank turner under that layer of grass?
And the keeper, that is also an aspect you touched upon after the second test match. KS Bharat has had his difficulties with bat and with gloves. Is it time for India to blood in Dhruv Jurel?
I think so, but it's unlikely to happen because then the selection would have been made. KS Bharat would not have been picked in the squad. But I believe that it's a very short term role that has to be filled before Rishabh Pant comes and takes his rightful place. So it's a great time to look at another option. You've seen enough of KS Bharat now to see what he's all about and what's the return that you get from investing in KS Bharat. I find Dhruv Jurel as a more exciting investment at this stage, considering that Rishabh Pant eventually is going to come into the side. So I would go that way, but maybe the Indian team management won't.
England do go in with the two seamers. It does also mean that England, at least on paper, go in with their strongest bowling attack of the test we've seen so far. That in itself presents a bigger challenge for this inexperienced Indian batting lineup.
I think England have been amazingly pragmatic and very sensible. They perhaps looked at this pitch and felt that maybe three spinners would be too much, three or four spinners if you count Joe Root. They've also seen the impact and the effect that all the spinners have had on Indian batters. So Hartley obviously will stay. Rehan Ahmed, I think, is a very interesting talent for the future. The Indians have managed him quite well. But because Jimmy Anderson has found a way of troubling Indian batters on a typical Indian pitch, I think they see Mark Wood creating more issues for the Indian batter than somebody like a Bashir. So that is how they've gone. And it's not a bad way to think. And Jimmy Anderson might actually give a little bit of the learnings that he's had from bowling in the last match, where he bowled so superbly. And this ball, as I keep saying, is just motivating and encouraging seam bowling in a series where generally over the years we've seen spin dominate.
They will enter the test with supreme confidence because of the way the Hartleys and Bashirs and Rehan Ahmeds have performed so far. In fact, it's almost a sight unseen for a visiting spin bowling attack to be out bowling the Indian spinners in a test series in India. But there is a pattern. The last couple of times we've seen this in long test series in India. England themselves did almost as well as India in 2021 in the first two tests, and so did Australia back in 2017. But typically, those numbers, you find the balance coming back in the second half of these long series when both the Indian spinners up their game and the Indian batters to get accustomed to the spin threat. How do you expect it to play out in this series?
See, those examples that you gave, there was a simple explanation. India just was the better side when you looked at the spinners and the batters that they had who played spin. This particular Indian team and the opposition that we have is the kind of opposition that India has never had before. So India can't actually, very easily dish out a rank turner. The spinners will obviously bowl well, but this opposition that we have will find a way of scoring runs quickly and set up a reasonable target on the board. And then India have their own problem of finding batters who will play well on a rank turner. Now, in the past, we've had guys with a lot of experience who eventually found a way to play better than the opposition on the turner. So it's not really about how well the spinners are bowled. It's about the batting sides in this series. And we have India with a slight question mark with regards to experience and ability to play spin. So I find this a series where you can't say that once we saw Hartley actually go off the boil, a bit like O'Keefe did, after the Pune Test match when he played for Australia. But I can't say for certain that this graph that's gone down for Hartley or the English spinners in the second test match will continue to nosedive. So that is why, as you said, fascinating, riveting series, just because England has come the way they've played so far in the selections and everything is just making this a very hard series to predict.
Absolutely. That was one of my big learnings as we took this break over the last 10 days, that this is a series for which we will abandon that go to last question. No room for predictions. I will repeat your theory all through. We will wait and watch. We look forward to your company, Sanjay, through this test. I know you
Thank
will
you.
have a much closer look from the ground this time. So be sure to join Sanjay Manjrekar's thoughts and analysis on ESPN Cricinfo all through the Rajkot test. Thank you so much for watching.